Tim here. Optimizing images has just got a lot more complicated. There's increasing evidence that geotag data embedded in an image is a factor in ranking in Google. Google can read inside the files of images. In images, there's a whole bunch of, or there can be, and sometimes there is, a whole bunch of embedded data. What I'm talking about specifically is when we do image optimization, for example. So here's an example of an image I'm working on here, which is this particular one. This is the one that I'm currently working on. Oh, this one, the JPEG. You can only do this with JPEG images. So I've actually converted it to JPEG in order to be able to do this. And a JPEG allows you to embed data in it, which Google can read. So in order to take advantage of that, what we need to do is to make sure that the data embedded in any given image is what we want it to be, and we want to make sure that that image embedded in the file is optimized for what we want the image to rank for. So in addition to everything else that we do, which is the file name, caption, text around the image, alt tags, all of that stuff, what we should be doing is going through and adding data actually embedded in the image itself. Now you can't see it directly. Google can read it, and a lot of software can read it, but what you've got to have is you've got to have a tool that allows you to edit this embedded data. It's commonly called EXIF data, EXIF data, or geotag data. What happens when you take a picture with a camera, the camera will embed the data, depending on how your camera is set, specific to the location and the time, and if you own the camera, your personal information into the actual image itself, and it's part of the copywriting process. So what we want to do is we want to take advantage of this. And when we get images, we want to go in and add as much relevant, optimized data inside the image as we possibly can. So the tool that I'm using to do that is called Geo Setter. That's the name of the application, and this is what the application looks like. And this is a wine cellar done by Jerry in actually Maryland, Pikesville in Maryland. So what I'm doing is I'm going in and I'm changing the data. So for example, what I've done is I've changed it to USA. It's not showing here yet, but it will do. Maryland, Pikesville. So I'm filling in these forms. So there's lots and lots of bits of data that you can choose to add to it. That's location. I'm now doing source and medium. So I'm making Coastal the artist for the image, giving them the copyright on it. I'm going to put in information here associated with what I want the image to rank for. I'm going to give it a headline, a caption. All of those sorts of things can be embedded in the image, and there's other things that we can add here, contact information and all kinds of stuff. It's another level of optimization for images, and when it's saved, it will actually change that data. So the map is just here so that you can put the coordinates of the picture. So you can copy this. So it's just a general map, and all it's doing is it's giving you the coordinates. So if you want the image to be fully optimized for the location, you put the location in there, then you get the coordinates, then you put that into the data. So what I do is I say image, edit data, and now I can put in my latitude and longitude. I'm obviously going to have to copy it first because it won't let me copy now. Copy that. I'm going to put that into, so I'll put that into Notepad there. Then I'm going to go back and say image, edit data. So what I did was I got the latitude and longitude and I put these two in, and it automatically puts the decimal in. This is when it says north or west and so on. And it helps if you understand, and I think I've got this right, which is latitude, which is up and down, so north, south. Longitude, which is where this way you are, so that would be east, west. So I think I've got that right. What that's doing is that's specifically placing where the image is from a geographical point of view. So I've optimized it geographically by, get this out of the way, putting in the actual location and the latitude and longitude, and that is now embedded in the image. So if there's a search for images that are specific to a location, this will reinforce this from an image optimization point of view. Hence, when I put in my description, I'm going to call it, something to do with wine cellars. So if somebody's looking for wine cellars in Maryland, then this helps to optimize it for that location. This is just the application that I use. It's a free application which you can download, and I recommend it, but there's a lot of applications out there that will let you edit EXIF information. So you can use this application, or you can just search on edit EXIF data or geo information in JPEG images. You could do searches like that and find an application that you prefer to use. But this one works pretty well and allows us to add a lot of embedded data. I've added the name of the image, which is optimized. I've changed it around a bit, added a couple of words for the headline. Now, in this particular case, it's not a full project where I've got a lot of information and a lot of description, so I've got less that I can actually add to it. So for this exercise, I'm going to leave it at that, but you could absolutely add a caption if you want to. If you're working on a project where you've actually got an article and a write-up and you've got more information, I strongly recommend that you actually put that information in the caption area. I wouldn't worry about this special instructions unless there are some special instructions, but in most cases I don't think there's going to be. So I've done location, source description, I'm going to add the date, and I'm just going to put today's date in there. In fact, no, I think I'm going to leave it. This was when the image was originally taken, which was already embedded in the image by the camera. There's no reason for me to change that in this particular case. Because it's a before image, it's logical that it would be taken before the finished images, so to speak. So you just got to think your way through each one of these and make sure it makes sense. So you can see here when I go into this custom view, you can see the information that I've added, and you want to go through all the information. Just make sure there's not anything in here that you don't want to be in here, because sometimes you'll have other information in here that would be irrelevant or wouldn't help you to rank. You don't want anything off topic. You can also put a URL in here. So if you're working on a page, for example, then you want to put the URL of the page in there. If you don't have a page yet, then you can just put the page of the website, for example. And you put the phone number of the client, for example. It's a good idea to put the address of the business as well. So you just fill all that in as makes sense and is logical. So you'd put the address of the business and so on. A category is a good one. It's wine cellar construction I'm going to use for the category on this one. Supplementary categories, you could put that in as well. So there's a whole bunch of SEO information that you can embed actually inside a JPEG image using this model. So what I want you to do is to download this application or a similar one, and on each image to embed all this data in order to optimize the images properly.